I've made a lot of videos talking about the Harrier GR1. I've received a lot of, dislike from it just overall because people say the Harrier's not actually a good aircraft. But I'm going to make another video discussing probably what I think is the coolest thing about this aircraft, and that is the SRAAMs. They are kind of very maneuverable, and they actually pull off the rails like a thrust vectoring missile should. They're more reliable to me personally than the other two thrust vectoring missiles we have in the game, being the R-73 and the Mika-EM. They are not necessarily flare resistant, but being at a BR of 9.7 and a full down tier being an 8.7 down tier, that's pretty much where nothing has flares except for a handful of aircraft. And even if they have flares, a lot of times you're at such close ranges, they're not necessarily expecting a thrust vectoring missile out of the blue. Because this thing has short ranges though, and it's a slow speed aircraft, you do have a hard time catching down opponents. Also, I don't know why the hate for the Harrier originates from. I think it's because it's a 9.7 aircraft without flares, and in the old meta that was like completely no, because sitting literally 0.3 higher, and then eventually 0.6, were the Su-25s and the A-10s, which now with the BR changes have gone higher, where the Harrier GR1 has not been touched at all. The SRAAMs still are freaking amazing to me personally. They hit targets when I feel like they're not going to. They're still missiles though, they do miss. They're not called hittles for a second, hittles. I was trying to make a joke there. I will never try that again. That was terrible. Feel free to roast me in the comments. But honestly, the missiles themselves don't feel terrible at all. They feel maybe not necessarily reliable, but at a certain ranges, they do amazing. I know for a fact that if I have to use my VTOL to reverse someone, they are going to die one way or the other, either from an SRAAM or from my twin Aidens, which is another big thing I have for the Harrier. I love the Harrier's guns. Being twin Aiden 30 mils, they hit differently. I'm going to be honest, they're such a good pair of guns. It's such a good pair of offensive weapons that this plane has. Does it lack the defensive countermeasures? Yes. And something I want to point out here about the missile here is energy trapping the missile. This plane just flies in a straight line and dodges my missile. Not really flies in a straight line, but continues to hold its energy. My missile has to give up all of its energy, and it only burns for such a long period of time or such a short period of time that it burned all of its time in that turn. That doesn't mean the missiles are bad. For the most part, when people see a missile, they think turn. So they try to turn. That is not what you do with an SRAAM. You need to level out and fly as fast and far away from the SRAAM as you can. That's the way you dodge them. The SRAAMs are, they're short range, but they're not as bad as people say because they have that really good G. Yes, it's 20 Gs max, but you have to keep in mind that's 20 Gs almost immediately, compared to the R-73 and the Mika-EM, where it's very iffy if they'll pull their maximum Gs and if they'll even hit their targets. Whereas in the SRAAMs feel very reliable. They feel, let me rephrase that. They feel very reliable against planes that don't have countermeasures and against planes that I know are not fast. So in a down tier and you're fighting maybe the F-100, the F-86, G-91s, those planes do not have flares. And they have a very hot afterburner, minus the F-86 and G-91. The F-100, for a prime example, is a plane I see quite a bit of, and it's honestly pretty easy to kill. Whereas planes like the F-8U2, maybe not so much. I hope you guys somewhat enjoyed this video. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Discord will be linked down below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.